You might have been staring at that quadruple zeros for a long time, but we are here, ready to get actually started in the game. I am Lightrose. Joining me is Treasure, and I'm just glad we can actually start to cast the game. It's been so long since we were supposed to start.
Yeah, unfortunately, things ended up getting a little bit delayed, and our teams have ended up getting into their action already. So one map has gone by the wayside. We missed out on Border, but we get to move on to map 2, Clubhouse. Currently, the UCF Knights are that one map ahead after that first map. They won in 7-4.
That's pretty good. And quickly going over the rosters, we could talk about Louisville. First, an interesting note, Louisville, they have not technically won a map. They are 2-2. Two of those are off of forfeits. So they're just trying to get something on the board, and it will have to come on Clubhouse. You can see with some of these majors that are on the board, Heartless giving us a little bit more than the two words that probably would come with a major, but if you go straight on through, you can talk about UCF.
Yeah, and so for U of L, they do have something to prove at this point, not having put a map on the board so far. So this one is the one that they want to make happen. On the other side, pretty similarly mixed roster as far as their ages, making a good spread across the years that they're all in college as well. So over here, Nuclear Bales, Active Wear, Hollinator, and I did not read the last one in time. I got the rest of them, but they've got a little bit of bigger roster, so I can pull that up to get the last one for sure. But you had plenty of time to look at it as well. So, like we said before, our second map is Clubhouse. This is going to be UCF's map choice. This is where they chose to go. So they had that nice upset for themselves winning on their opponent's map on that attacking side of things.
Yeah, and well, with UCF, they are currently 1-2, with one of their results not being reported yet. So we don't know if that is a win or if that is a loss. So both of these teams being 2-2, I think UCF, if they would come out with a 2-0, that would put them kind of above that 50% threshold, that 0.5 win-loss. That would kind of set you up pretty good going into playoffs. And we're still a little bit far away from that. We are on week 5, but eventually we will inch closer and closer, and then we'll be at the end of the season, and you'll think, oh, wow, all these games, they definitely mattered.
Yeah, everything starts collapsing really fast here. We get to the end. This is the first half all the way done. This is our first match on that second half of the season, and we'll go ahead and get a look at it here as we keep going. But this is where everything starts compounding overall. We're in that back half, and it feels a lot faster than it did in the first half of the season. So everything's going to get a lot more intense every single time.
Oh yeah, that's always how it is. It always feels like you're at the beginning, and then suddenly, like, feels like 1 week goes by or two, and then you're at the end. You're at playoffs, and everything is coming to an end until the next semester. But, we are only halfway through. We have some games to go. We have some teams to decide who's going to be at the top. Going through this first ban phase, Maverick being banned, I can't remember when that was actually implemented. When Maverick was last seriously banned. Because ever since they took his frags away, he's been like, useless.
He is a lot weaker without those frag grenades, but always brings some power here on Clubhouse on, well, that would be something that we normally end up seeing quite a bit more. But otherwise, right now with EMP grenades coming into effect, it requires a lot less need for Maverick. He basically just buttons up that need for being a little closer on timing between your players. Osa goes down as well. This one makes a lot of sense with a lot of the second floor windows, second floor objectives. Her shield can do a lot to control long and important lines of sight.
And on that basement side, she can be pretty good if you kind of want to go down dirt, maybe set up those shields, so it's a little bit harder for the defense to take you down. As we do have Louisville Red starting on that defensive side, depending on where they want to go, if they want to head to CCTV, but a lot of teams, I prefer to kind of avoid it early on. With Azami, who usually can kind of make or break that site, she has been banned by UCF, so that could make attacking the CCTV site just a little bit easier, but that's not where Louisville want to go. They want to go to the basement first.
Yeah, and we'll see that these bans are impactful. There's a lot of these very sightline impactful characters going away. Mira and Izami both can do a lot here, especially if we're looking at like Dirt Tunnel with Izami, adding some extra barricades to like AK's cabinet or the box stack. And Mira obviously watching towards blue, really strong right there. So we're looking for a composition that really lends to a lot of roaming, a lot of off of sight pressure, just basically every character on this Caveata being a real standout. Maestro being that one who's going to be our given anchor back on point.
Okay, so it is a new season. We do have to kind of address the elephant in the room. It's been a new season, and it is Brava. We are getting Brava for the first time, and I'm realizing, what the heck is that at the top?
Oh.
It's dots now? Why are they dots?
Make it real easy to keep track of every single one. It's a little neat, so I get to see it in real time.
It is a lot easier. You can see which drones are still active. Like, do the dots mean that they're deployed? Is that what it is?
Yeah, it must be in the X's are them out. And actually, it looks like it'll correspond to the players as well. If we look, Bales has lost a drone and has one deployed. Or wouldn't have been one deployed. I guess that must be
now you got the secondary hard breach has been utilized. And now that has been put a little X over. I like that a lot better than, like, the number system that they had where it was, like, out of X. And you had, like, if there was 2 available, you had 2 out of 2. It was a little confusing, and I think even though this one will take a little bit, it'll take a bit to get used to. I think overall it's probably easier for us, the casters, and you for the audience to decipher.
Yeah, that's a lot of great clarity that's been added. Already, our attack UCF is going in above point, well above, using hard breach immediately to get into CCTV. There's some holes blown in the floor, so they're looking out for players on the defense pretty warily, but it's going to take them quite a while to get back all the way down to the basement site. They realize that there's some shenanigans afoot up top.
No more Ying, which means no more Candelas. That might hurt UCF. Kind of going into that late round because the Candelas and the Flashbangs can really help you out. Jay Razor does take an engagement, but gets away with a little bit of help. This little 1v1 between these two could really decide the tipping point as Synthetic on Louisville Red goes down, and now Jay Razor will as well. That's 2 for Activewear and 2 for UCF as we see that Brava, that clutch drone. You gotta spit it out. Yeah, and how ugly that word is. Clutch drone being utilized by Activewear, and you can get so much usage out of this. Surya Gates, Maestro Cams, Black Eyes? Louisville gotta be careful.
Yeah, it's gonna have a lot of impact. I mean, those Evil Eyes are in play right now, and those can do so much for the attackers, and just as hard as they are to deal with for attackers, they're going to be even more difficult for defenders to deal with. The defense has been doing a good job of well, they've been holding on to lives well enough, but the hatches are going to be going away just as Kitchen already did, as UCF has done a nice job of securing that top floor. They have 30 seconds to work with, though, so it has taken them a little bit of time in that hatch into Trophy isn't going to be opened fully either. It's just going to create a little bit of a sideline. They're going to have to take some pretty messy sidelines here. They just have to work on their numbers advantage. And unfortunately for Gangsta, he is backing up just a little too far under average, though. Is ready, though, to make sure he's got that refrag for his teammates as their flank goes down from Nuclear. He's on the prowl, takes a second one. Oh, shut down, though, by Bales, and it's only Heartless to deal with. Using this thing. He's got the first kill he needs. It's a 1v1 as Bales comes around. AK's rack does not quite find Heartless. That LMG sings true. He's got just a couple health left, but the first round goes to Louisville.
And that LMG, it's got a lot of bullets, a good rate of fire compared to the Para, which has a low rate of fire and not a lot of bullets compared to that LMG. So Maestro comes out on top, a smidgen of health to give Louisville Red the upper hand. And I have to wonder, did the clutch drone get anything? Did it hack any Maestro Cam, any Black Eyes? Because maybe that could have decided, and maybe it did decide how that round ended up. We'll have to see as more Brava is being played by UCF, trying to help them out on this attack, as Louisville still opts to not go to that CCTV site. They go to Jim Better, bring some of those same operators, but mostly it's just kind of the similar lineup that you usually see on the site. Frost, Castle, Amazi, though, might not get played as much, and I'm having to think that because of that clutch drone.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense One of the things with clutch drones, though, is that they don't get a lot that they can do for your team if the defense doesn't bring things that are hackable. Like, look at this roster right now from Louisville Red. Just as in last round, there's one thing that I really would want to grab with the drone other than just, like, cameras, and that would be those Maestro cams. And those do bring a lot of value, especially in that post-plant situation, but the attack didn't have enough time. Since it was a slow push, 30 seconds was not nearly enough to be doing stuff like hopping on a cam to ping defenders. And now there's basically nothing that's worthwhile to hack on the defense. So this is a character that is a little bit situational, despite having a really strong concept.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing you could really get with the clutch drone here compared to... It wasn't just the Maestro cameras. There was also Valkyries, Black Eyes, and the Surya Gates. So there was a whole collective compared to right here, which, I mean, you can destroy that Electro Claw and hack the Mujam. And then maybe, like, get a Pest, but I would hope that where Gangsta is putting that would be just a little bit smarter. So, I don't know if you're going to get much utilization with the Brava, because there is a Thatcher in. You can just simply throw out that EMP. That wall is going to get opened. Not really much hesitation from this attack. No need for the clutch drone as well. And already, this attack is moving, moseying along with Nuclear. They're kind of flirting with death, staying out in the open like that. And that's where Gangsta is going to find a great pick all the way in dirt. Sadly, Nuclear did get that wall open. It's a good pick, but just like a hair too late.
Yeah, Nuclear really asking for it. Not even getting killed from that shield position that he was staring down, but he does get the double wall penetration. That's most of his job done already. Yeah, it looks like under average there in the shower. He's spotted out, but he deals with the drone, so there's not going to be much more pressure there on him. A lot of intel coming into objective. Bale's going to get the first kill for the offense. They already are pinching down on these defenders really tight.
Well, frag grenade almost kills under average, and a second one would have, but instead it's just Bales' bullets. As UCF, they have so much time to work with. They've got that wall open. They've taken down a good form of plantile. They still get 2 C4s that are in the defender's pockets, but overall, it's a cohesive attacking round. You feel like should fall in the direction, especially with active wares kill. They are finding multiple in this round, helping out this UCF squad. It's only a matter of time before the round will fall their way. Gangsta underneath has that C4, but there's just too many bodies. Treasure that they can take out with that C4. They rotate up central stairs, creeping along, hoping to get something. They do get spotted out by Activewear, who I believe got a 3K, if not a 4K. A good comeback there from UCF Academy.
Yeah, Activewear, they're really making much more use out of his Zero with Gadget, his gun. That part I was thinking pretty darn true and watching that angle straight from Jacuzzi down through the hallway. Really making good use of that spot. I love the intel from UCF throughout that round. They were able to act on every single member of the defense one at a time. They scouted them out, dropped utility in, albeit drones or grenades or like a Yana drone, before they were even going to get into a gunfight, practically securing these kills before they even happened. And UCF ended up a little bit splintered. We saw Gangsta all like in the basement, I think, in the last minute of the round. He had to sprint a long distance to get back to his teammates, and by that point he was blind to just tossing a C4 and hoping.
So Mozzie is being swapped out for the Mute, and under average is picking up that Malusi, which actually does lend itself a little bit more to that Brava. I feel like that's always going to be a debate.
Imagine trying to flank through one of those.
Oh my god, that's
just terrible.
That's the thing I feel like we're always going to have. With Brava now in play, you have to consider how many electronics the defense is now bringing. Like, Frost can't be hacked. Castle barricades can't be hacked. I like what she's bringing to the table. I don't know if she's going to be very strong, because I think her drone can be countered pretty easily, and there's a good amount of ops that she just has no usage over, like Frost and Castle. Synthetic. Synthetic, you're playing a dangerous game, my friend. Do not reinforce that second wall. Oh, they do, but I don't know if they can act off it. That's the thing.
Yeah, there we go. Okay.
Late.
Yep. Not quick enough to pop his head there. He wisely does not go for that second reinforcement, instead opting to barricade this wall. Ooh, he's been spotted here as well, and he's only got one to play off of, so this kill hole is going to have to do a lot of work for him. I think it's already a pretty faded position with how many spots have visibility on him. So hopefully he doesn't play too aggressively on this point. Right now, though, actually it looks like UCF has kind of peeled away. Take their time. Active Warrior is going to drone once again, see if they can root him out.
It's just activewear getting another kill and just adding more to their name. They do spot Malusi just hiding inside of that site, but has anybody accounted for the Frost? No, they have not. It's an equalizer onto that attacking Yana, but it's just UCF who swing right back. And now they have a good amount of control over that gym area and potentially could press the attack if they really want to. But as the sledge drops, they're just gonna maybe back up a little bit. Use that minute and 30 seconds as Nuclear is inside of the site. Treasure, I did not account for it, you did not account for it, and clearly Louisville Red did not account for it, as it's just bullets and guns who are really doing the work for this team.
Wow, even more enabling of Active, where he's been able to just walk through everything that comes up to him. Another multi-kill round. Was that 4 in the end? It's insane. He's putting down crazy numbers already. Great job from UCF. We saw that Jacuzzi push. We didn't really look at it much, but the result of it was having an ace just walking through sight, popping a player in the back of the head, and just crushing down the last one. Louisville finally got a really impactful flank, something that they were really hoping for, clearly, with the way that they're building their team. They're getting ready to have a lot of teammates in the basement on various floors, coming back up to second floor, and that was the only one that we've really seen find the value that the team was hoping for. Unfortunately, though, Jay Razor couldn't make it all the way back to site the way that UCF had already taken it so quickly.
I mean, when you have the confidence that Activewear has, 9-1, that is massively impressive, considering how little rounds. We are in round 4. They have a 3 KPR. And if you have a 1 KPR, that is considered, you are considered to be doing well. So when you've got somebody on your side like that, you can kind of do anything you want. Clearly, the Para is making love in Activewear's hands right now. As the basement, you bring back a lot of those electronic operators. You enabled that Brava, but you hope that maybe the Cav of Synthetic will be able to find something, as there isn't a lot of anti-roam operators on the side of UCF.
Yeah, it's pretty surprising to see a Cav not just once, but twice in a single map. Like, I could put so many qualifiers on this, but having Synthetic coming right back to the Cav, they're really looking for this all or nothing strategy, because she's not able to do a whole lot for the team on her own other than picking up kills. So Synthetic really needs to find his opportunity to pop off. There is going to be more aggression on his side of the map once again, though. UCF has gone through CCTV every single round that we've seen. So 4 in a row, there has been pressure. Bale's flirting with it at the very least.
There is Emus, and I guess they were just separated from their team, but last basement site, it was Ying that went down again. So clearly, UCF are struggling a little bit when it comes to just kind of containing everybody together. As last time we saw the Ying go down, there were refrags back and forth. That did not happen this time. And I think if Nuclear does go down, that might solidify the round for Louisville Red. So playing with fire a little bit here, caught between 2 defenders, and I don't know if this is going to go well, Tristan.
Oh, there we go. He's baited out gunfire from Jay Razor. He's got confirmation that the player is right there, but he doesn't know about another one right behind him. Activewear is going to get one before he's got shot down. Jay Razor putting up 4 in a row. Taco now left is the only attacker left. We saw this in round 1. Jay Razor was up here, or sorry, round 2, when we were back in gym. And so Jay Razor was attempting this. I think he traded out, but it just wasn't nearly as impactful. This is exactly what that Rum has been looking for. The thing is, it is reliant on Louisville's players having standout opportunities to just take kills by themselves. So Jay Razor gets to do it. He finds another flank back-to-back rounds, and this one just goes absolutely nuclear. I assume this round is just about done. We have some barricades to walk through. Taco can't do anything about a electrified, what do you call it, trapdoor. He's hatched. There we go. So this one's just about sold, and it's really all on the back of J Razor.
Yeah, and sometimes it's kind of seeming how it's going. Like Activewear in round 3 was the one who enabled everything, and now you had Razor in this round just kind of hiding in bathroom. Now, granted, that could not have happened without somebody like Synthetic holding in logistics. So yes, we're kind of giving the credit to J Razor because they got 5 kills, they're still alive, but that could not have happened without the crossfire of Synthetic. It was a team effort, and that's honestly why Louisville Red did earn this round. Tied up 2-2. Problem is that Louisville Red, they've only been able to win the basement side. They went to Extra Gym 2 times, did not win either of them, and they kind of have to make the decision of, do we go there again? Do we go to CCTV, which we have not tried?
Yeah, the thing about CCTV is that it's a lot more built for coming back to site. It gets a little persnickety once night has been cracked open. If you got CC wall opened up, if you got CC window peeking down with players, if there's attackers on red stairs, there's a lot of places where it can get kind of cracked open. But cash room has some much more safe spots to hold their lines of sight. And this is what's really pivotal for Louisville's defenses so far, is that they have a wide roam and they're able to collapse in back on it pretty well as long as they have safe avenues for it. To the contrary, Jim has so many sight lines into the objective, and they just could not get any bunker positions for their anchors. We really just have a player in bathroom, but if he's left all alone in there, well, what are you going to do? There's going to be grenades in like T-minus 2 minutes.
I want to talk to like Activewear, because I was going to bring up, maybe don't bring the Brava. We've seen you, yes, you can, the para is amazing in your hands, but when it comes to the round, the clutch drone really isn't doing anything. It's not hacking anything. It's not really destroying anything. So I think you kind of have to bite the bullet and go somebody else. And I think that's what Activewear is doing. They hopped onto the thermite, which is absolutely essential for the CCTV site. You're going to be able to get that wall open easy as pie, and actually pretty smart of them to spot that out. The drone is going to see it. The Thatcher MP might go through, or at least that Kaid Claw will be shut down. Now that wall will be able to be opened. Heartless sticks through, throws the C4 out, and catches Activewear running away from that breach. A risky play. Treasure, it does pay off.
Absolutely humongous to see, and already a lot of intel from the attackers. Wall is opened, which is going to give a lot to the attack, but once again, there's some good safe spots for the defenders to peel back to.
There's J Razor again over in gym. That's like his home. He hangs out, he sleeps on that bed, like does the cooking in that little kitchen. And now he might find another kill behind the weights, but Nuclear is ready for it. Gets that kill, and it's a flurry for UCF. Suddenly, the sides are swapped. Synthetic has to rush back to the site. Caveira anchoring isn't the strongest operator in the world, but at this point, it's really all that Louisville Red has at this point. His under average is going to be able to hold off until that second player does come back. But so far, UCF Knights, they clearly have the utility advantage, and they clearly have the gun advantage in this engagement, and that shows with Synthetic going down almost immediately.
Yeah, man. Just not a great spot to be in, trying to come back, not having much utility to work with. A lot more from the attackers. They clutch in on site.
Oh, no. Nuclear hadn't won that engagement. Maybe the recoil was too much, but under average just takes a lot of damage. And that engagement peeks to the right, takes out Jahemius, and it was a back and forth. It was a seesaw round. Treasure, and in the end, Louisville does a great job at staying calm and holding down that site.
Absolutely. Now, this defense, after 5 rounds, or 3 going their way, they have a little bit more options on the table. It's not looking nearly as dire as we kind of led ourselves to believe a moment ago. Looking for that 3-3 or really hopefully 4-2 if they can make one more round. They're going back for an intrepid second floor gym objective, the same one that they've lost 2 times already.
What do you think about the Caveira? Like, It's got 1 kill, and it was in combination with Jay Razor, but there's got to be better operators you can go. Like, Activewear and the Brava, it might be helpful, but you kind of maybe also hurting your team by going this operator. Do you think Synthetic should kind of make that swap?
Yeah, right now I'm not seeing either of these operator picks really given the value that I would hope for out of that slot. Cav is just one of those characters. Doesn't see a lot of comp play for that reason. Not to say that you can't, but it is one of those things where you could give more reliably to your team, and especially over the course of large series, that's when you're really going to see the difference between Cav and a different operator that could potentially be doing something every single round.
Here's the sledge breaking open that wall, which is why they are going to rotate over to that garage, maybe try that little pinch that they had with Jay Razor that worked so well, but so far neither are showing their true hand. If they can do that for a good amount of time, that will really benefit Louisville Red in the long run. As the longer you can draw those 2 UCF players, the less they have to worry about the side, and the more that's going to help all your 3 anchors.
Yeah, everything's getting a little more quiet here. UCF has attacked much more quickly on the previous rounds here. They do have this jacuzzi line of sight, which has been really nice previously, so we'll see if they can get the same. Bathroom now fully cracked open.
Carlos actually still playing that risky game. Crusher hiding behind the breach, hiding behind that softball, throws out that C4. Even though it doesn't connect, he doesn't need to do anything because Gangsta caught 2 with that NPX, and those are the 4 frag grenades that UCF had. Activewear has been pretty silent since, I think, round 4. They go down, Synthetic finds their 2nd kill, and now the rest of UCF just have to pick up the scraps of where their attack left off. There's still a good chance they win this round. We have seen rounds that have flurry between the 2 sides, so it's not over yet, but so far it is Louisville Red who have the upper hand.
Finally, we get to see it, the Cav interrogation, and it takes so much time off the clock from Nuclear and Taco. They're able to regroup, but the defenders are well aware that they're going to be coming from Jacuzzi. There's nowhere else that they could be repositioning to with 45 seconds left on the clock. Now Synthetic, he's going to reap the fruit of his labor. He's going to stand around the corner. Spaz 15 ready to go as soon as he sees any shred of a person so that he can shred it himself.
Stillness in the air. Barely anybody moving, but it will have to be UCF who make the call to move forward. Taco goes down, Nuclear goes down. Waiting with open arms is a flurry of death. And it's Louisville who win their first gym site. 1 out of 3, but they have a 4-2 lead going into that second half. And you have to think that they are feeling good going on the attack.
Yeah, I have to say, I didn't say anything to the effect, but I was not feeling that it was looking great for Louisville off the first couple of rounds. It was 1-1 and then 1-2. Nothing too crazy, but UCF was looking so strong on their attacks, especially on the top floor and even going down to the basement. But Louisville absolutely turning it on, and they're playing a comp that's really focused on just winning gunfights and winning hard off of that. So it's really nice to finally see them do that, not just once, but 3 rounds in a row, and really pushing some wind into their sails. And they're going to have to be attacking the exact same objective that they just defended, gym and bedroom. And it's a very different composition that we see from UCF on their defense side.
Yeah, I mean, you still keep that Oryx, you still have the castle that I think is... It's not essential on this site. You could maybe swap in a Rooney, but with how window heavy the gym bedroom site is, you are always going to be benefited by bringing a castle who really shuts down the angles unless you have a sledge, breaching charge, gone 6. It forces utility out of the attack if they want those lines of sight, so they will always dedicate something, which is what Nuclear wants in the end. But Louisville Red, they don't really have a gone 6. They have a Glass who probably has that bearing gun, has those smoke canisters in the pocket. really obscure the vision of the defense who do not have a warden and try to just snipe somebody out from their hiding position and see what they can get. Is already Louisville Red, they are wasting no time trying to get inside that building with that little thermite breach on construction.
Yep, that's definitely a good start. Bales out here is playing the extension over into cash room for the defense. Has plenty of intel to be working with. A couple of beepers were placed here earlier in the prep phase. Yeah, he's gonna be pretty aware. Once someone comes in, though, there is a beeper for both the breach that has been formed and this window that he's now watching. Got to deal with some drones first and give away some ground to Synthetic. Really can't push on this. He doesn't have anything to work with. Teammate to drone right ahead of him. Ooh. And a little bit of an oopsie fall. Maybe not. He seems to be pretty ready to rotate.
Yeah, he's fine. Trying to get the coverages. Gangsta, don't know if it was through the smoke. Don't know if it was just an entry glass. We don't see that at all, but just sometimes if it is needed,
it is him! He is entering!
Yeah, he's entering on glass, walking straight into sight, shutting down everybody, and Activewear and Bales are stuck inside of construction. They've essentially given away the site, and it will have to be Activewear. That main fragger that UCF have relied on. He's able to get 1 kill, reloads, but the health in his health pool is doing him no favors in this engagement. Heartless is going to be able to put down that diffuser, and Under Average can just wait in that bathroom, the one that we saw the entry glass in. And Louisville, a wonderful attack, and that was, it was spurred off of Gangsta, honestly.
That is amazing. Okay, so that felt like we got to see a lot of really good intel, at least indirectly, from the defense. We saw intel on the plant, even though he was nowhere near there, trying to make that clutch up from Activewear. But I think the attack must also have had some really on-point droning. So I'm putting this together from post. That must have been a glass kill through Jacuzzi, open up the breach, and then just find someone peeking, lacking, taking a peek, going, maybe I can be the one who best glass in the long sight line. The answer was no. And then they must have had some more drones in objective. Someone must have already droned out bathroom, potentially even down into the office and logistics. And so he just went with it. He went, okay, well, like, I've got the information I need. I know where these next 2 guys are going to be. So Gangsta pulls up, gets the first one, and then just takes objective by storm. If they already knew someone was in construction, they know that's more off-site players, and that's perfect. He's able to hold sightlines. He's able to defend a site just perfect because he's the king of holding sightlines.
Glass is so fun. I'm glad that he's still relevant. Like, he didn't kind of fade away into obscurity like he did a couple of years ago when he did get that rework. He still has some play. Whenever you will have smoke plants, maybe a long sideline, Glass will always be there as an opportunity. And unfortunately, Gangsta will not bring out the Glass for the second time. They do swap to that IQ. It's the thought that counts, I think, Louisville Red. They've got the confidence spurred on by that entry glass. And Synthetic, I mean, they have some level of information, clearly, with intent, and I think that does come down to Louisville Red. You mentioned it, the droning, it really is on point.
Absolutely. You have to catch some more players here, and Activewear has made that active choice to go Vigil and get ahead of the intel from the attack. So he's going to do as much to Harry, and that's the character that really lends that gun skill. That's allowed him to get up to a crazy 11-5 record so far.
Ooh, where did I think Activewear was maybe peeking the window? Because Gangsta had that scanner out. Activewear was trying to run maybe and had their gadget active. And the pistol headshot, usually IQ is technically counter to Vigil. It doesn't happen too often, but when it does, I mean, it really stings. There's not a lot of roamers left on the UCF side.
And pressure back towards now is for Louisville. They've already sent Synthetic down ahead of that intel. He's moved over to another entry point to the basement, is holding main stairways, creating a pinch point with our player all the way back by blue. And yeah, as we can see from that overhead view, Louisville is really centered on this south to north line, so the east-west push is going to be really good for the attackers. Oh, but Bales and Jaheim is coming out. Both take a pick, peeking out into the hallway. Another one goes down. It's a trade, I think.
I mean, overall, it is a trade. We're at 3-3. Louisville Red, they've got good control. With Jay Razor inside of the site, making it so that Jaheim Mr. Smoke has nobody to detonate with. Nuclear does go down. That last bullet will just kind of nip them in the box. Saves them for the time being, but it really doesn't mean much in the end. Taco has to reload. One in the chamber, that new rework reload. And it's simply not enough. Treasure Louisville, they go on map point to send us to a map 3, and it's a really good bounce back from losing their own map pick to potentially going 7-2 on Clubhouse.
Yeah, looking absurdly confident in these last 2 rounds. I think defense might have been them kind of catching up even, which is crazy to say because they did really well there, getting those 4 rounds in the 6. So coming back even stronger in attack, especially on an objective or a map like Clubhouse, which isn't necessarily that defense-sided nowadays because there's so much counterplay. But I think they're really making their bans work for them as well. That Mav and Mira are having an impact on UCF's defense. For example, the Mira not available on Blue Bunker, which really could have been doing a lot more to shut down the attack.
I want to point out something. So every single round, except round 3, Louisville Red have gotten the opening pick. Every single round. And Gangsta has been a part of 4 of those 8 rounds. They are really making the work, which is crazy because Gangsta only has 6 kills. And 4 of them are opening pick. It is pretty darn impressive that they can consistently do that on whatever role they are on, defense or attack. They're always the one to start off the fight for Louisville Red, and it's a reliable position that UCF, they haven't really found a way out of.
Yeah, and he's going to be able to just keep walking up, getting more intel for the team. He's playing off angle for this round once again. So playing like that secondary support, getting intel ahead of the other player. So it's even more a wonder that he has ended up getting so many entry kills. We see over here the attack's having to reckon with the castle barricades first and foremost. For this round, they have not brought the sledge that we've seen previously.
And interesting to note, there are also no frag grenades either on the side of Louisville Red. We've seen them make a play a couple of times with frag grenades. As Jay Razor, there had to be no intent. There had to be no intent to kill Taco there. They seem to be just opening that window.
2 rounds in a row.
Yeah, it's not
can't stand there.
It's not activewear. It's Taco this time, but it is still another UCF player going down. That is the 8th opening kill. It's going to be traded out by activewear, who backs up smartly so, but still losing a C4. One of your only C4s, the other one in Bale's pocket, so early. You're going to have to keep this Louisville Red squad out somehow, and there goes your other C4. There is no plant denial on the side of UCF. So much time in their pocket. Louisville Red need just really one opener. Start the entry, rush their way into sight, and get themselves a map win.
At this point, it looks like just about the only safe places where Bales is standing and construction for Nuclear, but he's under plenty of pressure. Activewear does find a kill from there, finding as Synthetic looks to drop and get in, get some pressure on the windows on this other side. And now Louisville's attack has actually been pretty well stunted. 2 players up on the roof and 1 in 90 here. He's just going to have to peek with his face, pre-firing, and takes out Jahemus. That one's a pretty good educated guess, but he's losing his own teammate, evading this frost trap. And finding his shoulder, not quite the kill, but Gangsta's going to find a kill of his own.
And there goes Bales. It is a 1v1, and Gangsta, the spray through the wall. He's got an amazing entry on so many rounds. It feels only fitting that they get an amazing exit kill on this entire map. A 7-2 victory for Louisville. That is their first map win. And I don't think you could get a better map win like that against UCF. They have to be feeling great going into map 3, just like they were feeling good going into that second half of that map.
Yeah, they're going to look to propel on that momentum, bring themselves potentially another victory if they can take out UCF coming up in just a few minutes on Villa.
Welcome back to NECC. We're going into map 3 after a pretty short clubhouse. 7-2, Louisville Red dominated, and now after that map 1 border, which unfortunately we did not get to see, we are now going to that fabled tiebreaker map, Treasure.
Yeah, luckily we're getting our money's worth with this one. Having lost out on that first map. We're coming back. We get map 3, so we still get to see it proper in 2 of them, but it is going to be even higher stakes because they both have a full map 1 behind them, so they really have a lot to gain. Really excitingly, Louisville had their first map win of the season so far. They've unfortunately not had the opportunity to play 2 of their matches due to FFs, so they really get an opportunity to actually show what they're about, and it was a dominant display too, right, Leros?
Oh, yeah, no. I mean, they didn't lose a single round when they actually went on their attack. So that kind of shows you how good they look and how good they might feel on the start of Villa because they get to start on the attack here. We go through these ban phases. Maybe we'll get one that could tell a story like we potentially did in the previous map. A Flores ban on Villa isn't too out of the question. Sometimes you need deployable shields. They need to stay up, and especially on that study side. So as the defense, you want to make sure it's just a little bit easier to hold. That second attack ban being Thatcher, it's Thatcher. I will not elaborate beyond the fact that it is Thatcher.
Yeah, I like the Flores. Additionally, provides quite a bit of value on the opposite side of the map from what you mentioned on study and at the opposite tip of the map on the north end in master bedroom, especially if you're looking for a default plant in statuary. He can do a lot to open up the shields that you'll commonly see there and even deal with some electrification on the wall and some niche opportunities. Valkyrie, another just absolutely high value character. I think we saw her actually indirectly get a lot for the teams on Clubhouse on the defensive side. I think that added to that those yellow pings we just kept seeing that were finding every attacker coming in, especially on the upstairs objectives.
And Azami being banned out. I'm going to take a guess and say Azami was banned for border as well, because that is one of her strongest maps. And so her being banned throughout these entire 2 maps, being banned in the first map, she just gets no love today whatsoever. It's unfortunate because she can be a pretty fun operator to just see what happens when you throw her out there, how these players are going to work around her, how the Azami player will use those Kiba barriers. We don't have it. Instead, we get Kavera treasure. Synthetic will not go off the Kavera. It is.
Hey, maybe we'll see a second interrogation in
I don't know
one
if it's like
match.
stubbornness. Is it genuine strategy?
In my experience, anytime someone locks in Cav in like a competitive match, they say, trust, the strat works.
This much? Do you trust them that much?
I think at a point when they're your teammate, you just gotta trust them. So it's either a conspiracy of the 5 of these Louisville players, or they're willing to let Synthetic do it and work his magic every once in a while.
Yeah, it's just like Cav has the spaz, and honestly, that's about it when it comes to fire. Because her SMG isn't really great. We haven't seen Synthetic run the SMG, and her pistol Louison, you use the iron sights. The iron sights aren't always great for just kind of taking long-range gunfights, and UCF will most likely win those engagements if they are on long range. But Villa being these kind of tight corners, I think 90 hallway, you kind of got to worry about that if you're Kavera, but otherwise, that Spaz 12 might be the play when holding those tight angles.
Yeah, you straight up do not want to be there as Cavieta. If you're living long enough to make the flank, you want to do it through a different road to get there. The high one really is a highway for her. Nuclear here taking quite a bit of ground downstairs and going to make use of his Jackal gadget. This is a notable operator to not have banned. He's one of our currently pretty unambiguous top banned characters in the game. Especially with the analytics that we got back from Ubisoft this last couple weeks. Jackal and Thatcher make up 90% of it on their own.
Yeah, but I'm going to be honest. I think a Jackal ban, those 2 have been banned for so long that if you're like, okay, we need to ban someone, you will just go for Jackal and Thatcher. They might not have any impact if they're left up and you know how to work around them, because of the fact that impact EMPs exist and there's so many ways to get around wall denial. It's just like, why not go for Jackal Thatcher? You don't know who else to go for. I think that's why you might see a lot.
Does land into it.
Yeah, that's why you might see those bans be pretty high despite their actual strength not really being proportional.
Yeah. So, like, they're not crazy strong on their own. I mean, when it comes down to it, the counter to just about every character is, like, a gun, and every character's got a gun. So, like, it's not a crazy amount of strength on any characters in the game right now, fortunately for us. A lot of ground has been just blown open between the shotguns, both on the defense and the offense over here in 90 hallway. Our Taco coming right around the corner. He knows that there's a player here in A site, especially as they're getting pinged on their phones, getting a little bit of a phone call. 2 players now at the top of mains. There's plenty of claymores to check everything if there's going to be a flank later on. Keep your attention on Synthetic for that purpose.
Oh, it is now crunch time. Active throws a smoke canister over that map's door. There's no glass. There's nothing to look through it. It is just to provide smoke and mirror. Active sees those impacts go through, is able to shut down that Kavera. As UCF, you might have the man advantage, but the diffuser hasn't been put down. I think the diffuser is in Taco's pocket.
Oh my god, it is.
they're not going to be able to get it down. A huge play by Razor. Heads up thinking the Claymore was right at the top of the stairs. They risked life, limb, everything to kill Taco and subsequently win the round, Treasure.
A wild thing to have happen. The offense put a lot more trust in those claymores doing enough work for them. No one was actually watching that. I don't think there was a flank cam. Definitely not one that was watched. Otherwise, J Razor would have been noticed beforehand. And the diffuser down just inches away. I think actually he probably could have gotten it in if he had crouched through the hole in the wall too. It would have been a little bit faster than having to sprint around the corner. But alas, you just can't know these things at the moment. So you don't want to take the risk of a crouch hole not being quite walkable because they can be finicky sometimes. We're moving on to the other upstairs objective, statuary and trophy room, where we're running a pretty similar lineup, but we've got a funky inclusion here in Spetsnaz Capcan.
Capcan, I feel like ever since we've seen the new season, at least when I was playing today, when we saw Brava being played, Capcan was the biggest example of what Brava can do, what the clutch drone can do. And knowing that Brava will be played, Activewear has brought Brava almost every single round, especially on that second map. You gotta know that you just gotta take a little bit, like maybe 1 millisecond extra, just to check if your Capcan trap was hacked by the Brava. Otherwise, you are going to get clipped, shipped, put on Reddit, and it is not gonna feel good in the morning when you know that you got killed by your own Capcan.
Yeah, pain second only to leg day is the humiliation on Twitch clips. Ooh, J Razor, our hero of last round, has this pretty forward position at the southern tip of the map on study, dealing with drones and watching his kill hole. So he's going to see a Gemini drone come by. I think he broke it there, but his location has been given away. They're pretty aware that he's been stalking around here, sending more drones to make sure. And I think he thinks that that was an actual Yana. Takes out the drone, gives away his location a little bit, trading of fire. He comes out on top. J Razor's got one. He's got to come around the corner for a second one, and his secondary shotgun Bailiff doesn't quite do it for him. Taco puts him back down, but that is a crucial character lost for the attack.
Yeah, that Bailiff, it's got a very large hip fire, and Heartless survives for like 0.3 seconds longer. Synthetic on the Caveira. They didn't get much on Clubhouse, and they have gotten 3 so far in these first 2 rounds. Maybe it's Villa being a little bit more catered to roamers. Maybe it's Synthetic finding the better opportunities with that Luis on. Otherwise, it is UCF struggling to the sneaky Brazilian woman. They haven't got interrogated, but honestly, these kills are doing more than enough to scare them away from this potential site, as Jahemius is going to walk in. The flashbang goes down 90. There is nobody down there. And if they are not careful, Synthetic could walk through that door and find their 4th kill of this entire map.
He hears those throwables going by. Here's the flashbangs going off. He doesn't quite see the player. Run back in the hallway. And now come back. Jahemius has checked his 6. Gangsta kills off his teammate. Oh, and goes for another one. Where Synthetic left off, Gangsta's more than happy to oblige picking up the rest of the kills.
Good play off of each other. That is one thing that I think Louisville Red have done perfect, is play off of each other. They have done such a good job at really working around each other, especially in the room. Synthetic and J Razor, 2 peas in a pot. Like Thermite Thatcher levels of bonding right there. The way that they play around each other create nightmares for UCF. So far, 2 a defensive round. They were able to get 4 on Clubhouse, which, I mean, considering they didn't win, they didn't lose an attacking round unless they went on the attack, not boding well for UCF so far. I think 1 round, put your name on the board, get something done, and then put 1 step in front of the other.
The wild thing, too, is that I think Louisville might just be stronger on attack in general. I think they got up to 3 attacking rounds on the first map as well, from the limited information I got off of that one. Out of the 4 rounds that they took on map 1. So them performing so well in these first 2 rounds of a defensive side of what should be pretty equal map, Villa as our decider was allowed to go through bans by both teams. That looks really, really good for the Cardinals.
Getting a 3-3, at least 3 rounds on the defense, you could consider yourself satiated. And Louisville, they're on the cusp of doing that. A Synthetic still on the Caveira. Knights haven't really moved. Activewear has swapped off the Brava, which is always going to be a conversation that I'm kind of having in my head. Is like, is it worth bringing the Brava? Yeah, but Activewear's kind of popping off on the Para. Like, there's back and forth, and I think that First Wolf definitely one is going on to that Ashe is going to be a much bigger help to UCF, as there still really hasn't been big usage of the Clutch Drone, as Bales, who's been that first opening pick both times, is not going to be that opening death. It's going to be Jay Razor, who's been so good and Synthetic. The second roamer shut down by UCF. And boy, how things change just as we're gassing up Louisville. It's UCF who comes swinging around the corner.
Yeah, the tides have really, really changed. I don't know exactly how they got these guys pinned, which I assume they must have, with how slippery Jay Razor and Synthetic have been already in these last couple rounds. It's going to be a hard-pressed round for the last couple players at Louisville. Already a lot of vertical destruction is making their... Ooh. Oh, seen through the hole. Not quite finding a kill either way, though. Gangsta's in a risky position moving around after all those explosions have gone off above. Activewear's had to use breaching the rounds from his launcher rather than any breaching charges manually placed. But it gets the job done. That may be a worry later on, especially for the castle barricades, but they've got a lot to work with. They still have Bales and nades, if nothing else.
Gangster was playing with fire, and they most definitely got burned there. Treasure shut down by Activewear under the vertical play, and now almost a flawless round. We saw such good rounds from Louisville early on, and it's I'm a little bit shocked just to see how poor Louisville did on this site. Some of that could come down to the fact that Jay Razor and that Caveira of Synthetic really didn't do much, didn't waste time, didn't get kills, but also there was just a collapse on the site, and there wasn't much that Louisville can do. Good news, they get to go back to Aviator Games, a site that they probably should have lost, but thanks to a little Jay Razor, who's now in the alibi instead of the Oryx, they did win it.
Yeah, so a little bit of a dicey one, not nearly as rough as Kitchen just was, but we saw UCF do a great job of locking in. They saw the weakness. 2 roamers gone. That means that the rest of the players are probably on site. So at least like 2 of them are going to be on site at this point, and maybe one of them nearby site. So they could just move in, take a bunch of ground really fast because there's so much less risk of off angles being taken to shut them down from getting a kill or anyone holding lines of sight, especially with that vertical pressure, which I love that they, while moving really quickly to just clutch down on site, Activewear still did his due diligence, opening up the floor, making sure that they could cut down some sight lines, and then cut down a player as well and shut down Heartless, or Gangsta, I guess, from the vertical sight lines. And then it was just a matter of finding these last 2, and they could really just throw people at it. It was 5 versus 2, so no shame in just running it down into objective at that point. Also, earlier, was that the... Did you have a special voice for the wolves inside of you that argue with each other over whether operators are useful?
That was just like the inner monologue. Look, you gotta differentiate like the normal talkie voice and when something is happening inside your head. Oh! Bales spots a player, shoots at them, but ends up getting taken down. A huge pivot from Jay Razor, taking out Bales, taking out the only frag grenades on the board, and now a much better roam coming out, and well, we can see why. The fact that it's not a flawless round is already a little step above the previous round.
He should not have got to do that. Oh, no, roamers,
definitely not.
So darn bull. He's ruined a good armchair for it, but hey, if it's gonna get you out alive, that is what's all important. A lot of intel from the attack, but they've had constant pings. Yeah, so even Jay Razor up here, and I'm not sure who's getting red pinged on the other sideline. Or, ooh. well informed. Jahima's gonna pick up a kill on under average. Yeah, that's who the other player was who's been baiting that doorway for quite a while. Activewear takes a toll taking down Jay Racer, but he's going to shut him down before another kill gets picked up. Plenty of prone kills going out either way. Activewear gets a second one despite having such small HP. Synthetic gotta make the big flank back to site. There's no one on this side of the map, so you might be able to get back in. That doorway's going to be a big concern for him, though. It's a long sideline. Heartless has finally shut down Activewear and made his own way back to site as well, and this is where they'll have to hole up for the rest of this minute remaining.
No C4 in the pocket of Heartless, who goes a little bit further towards that bar site, tries to get somewhat of an angle as Synthetic just pulls down default with that Spaz 12. A Nuclear does not know the world of hurt that is coming towards them, and a full health on both sides. That Spaz is going to be probably, if not the best gun compared to the Mossberg in this engagement, but Synthetic needs to be careful. If they stray just a little bit too far, they could lose an engagement. They don't bring out the Spaz. They have the Louise on and lose that fight. I'm going to reason with you, Treasure. I do not think that was a smart move.
Nope.
And you leave Heartless in the 1v2. They don't have any form of plan to now shoot the drone, giving away their position to the rest of UCF. Can just get the kill. No, Jahemus on the prone is taken down, and now a true 1v1, but Heartless does not know where this ace is, who's all the way back by the bar area. There's no claymores, there's no drones. There is a claymore. I was misspoken. And it's going to take out that player. Yeah, no, it was nice, the little rustic red that Villa has.
That was a round of looking down. Like 4 fights happened with prone players. Not even going one way in particular. It's not like people were getting prone to win, dropping to the floor for drop shots. It was a mayhem. Every time someone got into a gunfight, hit the deck, try and just beat out the opponent. Works a little bit better with a shotgun though, but Jay Razor can make it work all the way out in Astronomy, but his teammates couldn't quite keep the round going all the way for him. An offensive win, CF even with Louisville, and I think this is looking to be a much tighter map even than the previous two.
I just really wish Synthetic would have used the Spaz 12.
Yeah, it's a perfect opportunity.
Yeah, like we talked about the difference in Cavero's firepower. Like the Louison isn't really a gun you want to use long range, especially when you're in a very tight, very crucial gunfight like that. The Spaz may buck wild. Sometimes you just need good firepower, hold those angles like you were when you killed that Nomad, and maybe things are different. With Louisville Red, they still have 2 rounds. We still have 2 before we do swap sides, so things could honestly go one way or the other. We've seen what UCF have been able to do on their attack, that they got those 2 rounds, but Louisville Red have also really not gone away on their defense since those first 2 rounds, especially on round 4 when we saw Synthetic and saw Jay Razor able to do things on the roam. We see a combination of UCF having a good roam clear, but Louisville Red having a good cat and mouse game with their roam. I think we're in for a real treat.
You noted last round that there wasn't much C4, not much plant denial for Louisville. This time, I think they heard you bringing 3 of them, and they've got Synthetic now totally changing his mantra on defense. No more a Cav player. Now, we've turned our lives around. We're hard-working meta player, watching site, making sure that Study is impregnable to the offense, bringing that Claymore for the late round. Oh no, but Gangsta has really pushed his way out of a safe spot, trying to vault down the stairs and try and pick up the rest of the kill on Activewear, I imagine, but perfectly exposing himself to Jahemus, who's happy to fire that big ol' rifle down the range. Jay Razor picks up another funny flank kill on Nuclear, waiting out in living room. He's low on HP, but there's no one in the vicinity to stop him.
Activewear able to get helped right back up, and Louisville Red, they've traded a lot of health. Especially Jay Razor, who's able to get that kill so far. Still holding by Astra. The ping, it was a Z ping, but I don't know if it was actively on a player. Because right now, focus towards Study. You've got that focus underneath, as well as Activewear is trying to get potentially frag grenade kills. Bales as well trying to get underneath frag grenade kills. I think that is the best bet for UCF. If Active or Bales are able to get an explosion from underneath, shut down the mirror, shut down that Kaid, you will be able to get an entry on that. But otherwise, those black mirrors, they are just going to be a hard wall in front.
And we got 3 nades. One of them goes out and takes out Heartless. Mira still up, though. Synthetic still watching the study. Another one is still in the pocket after Bales has used his remaining one. So Activewear really has to make this one count. Is that the window shot out? That might be pretty impactful for the attackers. No longer is... Yeah, Aviator, a free room to stay in. Taco has opened up the wall. So now things are really going to heat up, especially with these last 20 seconds, forcing the attackers to move. Jahemus takes some damage and finds a kill regardless. He's already in sight all the way through, cleaning everything up. Finally, the Mira is taken out. Synthetic finding a kill in that mess of everything, but it's just not enough. He's really broadcast his location, and the attack was looking for him the whole time.
And 3 now that UCF have been able to put up. And I think just the inability to keep those mirror windows up, keep the attack from fully getting inside the site, because black mirrors are your best friend as a defense, because the attack doesn't know if anybody's behind them. A lot of times they can't get close enough to punch it, because somebody will just pop up, find the kill, and then you're just kind of starting at square zero. But clearly Louisville Red, they struggled keeping hold of the site even with that mirror, so Synthetic will not stray from the path. They've been tested before, and it has led to unsavory results. Back on the Caveira. J-Razor back on the Oryx. It's just, I guess it's fabled to be. But that's how things will end up in Activewear and the Brava. Everything is how it's meant to in the end.
Trust the strat. Trust the strat.
Trust the strat. I trust Synthetic as long as he keeps the spaz out.
Absolutely, yeah. So we've gone back to the 1C4. Could be pretty impactful, especially in the later roaming. Like you said, we could be looking for some of the 20s with the Kludge drone if some of Capcan's traps are
really want to see it.
It would just
be too much
amazing.
to ask.
Especially with how often Louisville is at really low health with their just crazy offensive roaming. They're picking so many gunfights, so if one of those would happen, there's a good chance that they would die too.
It would be the funniest thing in the world. Like, it'll happen one day. Like, in some amateur league. I don't think it'll happen in Pro League. That's just too crazy. But maybe.
Ever. I don't have
one day.
Actually.
Yeah, maybe. But Heartless, speaking of the Capcan,
C4.
That, yeah, 2 players are kind of stationed around this window. The C4 is here. The ADS is going to be converted over to the attacking side.
No way, he did
Heartless
it! Yes!
does get that kill. Treasure and Jahemus, who was a blaze of glory in the previous round, is no more. No hacking cams, no calling those defenders. All thanks to that explosion that came from Heartless.
Ooh, but evened up just as quickly. Bales takes out J-Razor. J-Razor, such an explosive player, just really on it when he's on it. Otherwise, kind of going out pretty fast. But that's kind of the heart of the role. Here comes Synthetic with the flank. Nice and quiet. Doesn't quite see anyone, so he's going to keep going. He's going to miss that opportunity, unfortunately, for him. Ooh, flash is going out from Taco. Might lead him to have a little bit more information to work off of. Doesn't look like it, though, quite.
Now Gangsta, being on that Warden, will be able to look through it. As Activewear just kind of second-guessing whether or not they truly want to hop in. If they do, that could be disastrous, as Gangsta could look through it, but I guess the angle just wasn't really right in that engagement. Now Heartless can just sit back in a cloud of gray, and Gangsta, despite missing initially, corrects their course, takes out Activewear, and now with a couple more kills coming out from this defense, from Synthetic, who's still going to be able to run around the map, things are looking much better for this team in blue.
Ping comes out on the stairs. Nuclear not quite trusting that. I think he should have an air jab on there as well, so it's not the worst case. Yeah, he does have to pick up the diffuser, and it is now back in hands. There's 4 players inside. They don't really have much to entry with. Nuclear does use his gun for picking up the first kill, though. He's got really no intel outside of Bales, so if Bales goes down, he'll just be blind in sight. 3 more deals, and Gangsta is playing up on A leaned around that corner. Another kill from Heartless, and then Gangsta is able to peel out a round and finish off the Nomad before this round gets to go for that clutch opportunity.
Nobody gets the advantage as we head into the second half. It was Louisville Red who had the 4-2 on Clubhouse, but as we go here, we're at 3-3. Taking into account what we've talked about Louisville Red on their attack, you mentioned the 3 of the 4 rounds they got on Border were on the attack. They did not lose a single round on Clubhouse. They won 3 in a row, spurring themselves toward map point. And now UCF, on the defense, need to win at least 2 to go into overtime. Otherwise, no, they need to win 3, excuse me, to at least go to overtime. Otherwise, I mean, Louisville Red they look really good on their attack, and unless I see some evidence otherwise, I think they could really take it in regulation.
Yeah, this feels like they're definitely favored to bring it out in this half. I think it's funny here to see Jahemus blocking in the meta, playing the exact antithesis to the role he was playing on the opposite side on this site just 3 rounds ago, if I'm not mistaken, when he absolutely popped off trying to get around the meta and really flanked around. So he's now playing the opposite position. He knows how this goes, which means he was really well suited for dealing with Jahemus, or with the opponent's meta, if this is the role that he plays on defense.
Into the round, nobody actively playing like really synthetic or Jade Razor, where the closest we're gonna get is probably Bales, who is hiding out in that little statuary side with the soul, is able to hunt down the drones, which they're probably going to see Heartless and Under Average's drone, deciding if they really want to shoot it out. But no, it's just going to be the P90 taking out that Finka. No, the P90, it's a P shooter, but Activewear on the little layup there. The assist is credited to Bales. And now all the damage that Louisville Red takes will be final. Heartless throws those Candles and doesn't really go very far and takes damage from a Capcan trap. There was a counter to that death of Synthetic. Not gonna come from Heartless. It's gonna come from Under Average, who's hiding out in that little master bedroom side. And they just have to hunt down where Bales is, who's rotated all the way back towards Study. A good little retreat from them.
Yeah, he's gonna no longer the first point of contact, now the last one, opposite side of the map from every single member of Louisville's attack. We just keep seeing these moments where the fire rate of the gun just isn't quite up to snuff with the tracking of our players. We saw one really hurt Activewear using that part. It finally caught up with him on the last half, and this time it was Bales who couldn't quite get it, needed Activewear to clean things up for him. It's going to take a while for Louisville to find their way over to the site. This is the one point that UCF did really stand out on against Louisville, is that they were really fast clear, and so Louisville is losing a bit of time here, even though there's no one to actually fight on these angles.
That is where a team really hurts, is when they just take a little bit too long to actually A, make decisions, and B, take up map space that isn't really intense. So Louisville, they've reached the point of which things can start to go their way, and unfortunately, I think there was a one tap from Bales. I only heard one P90 shot and a headshot show up in the kill. And one shot or not, Louisville Red are going to be a man down as Heartless just fires that LMG away. Bales is able to get their second of that round, and now it is just orange all the way down. UCF does get the lead. They steal it back from round 5.
This is important, stopping the momentum before it gets going for the team that won our last map. So UCF is able to shut them down, had some more time to work with, but they just won their gunfights, holding angles, playing patiently, and especially getting quite a bit of credit to Bales finding kills from basically across the objective with a P90 too. So taking long range fights with the P shooter and finding heads.
I feel like the P90 is one of those guns where it's very hit or miss. Like, you will either shoot laser beam out of your bullet and everything just feels so good. The recoil, you basically don't feel it at all. Or it will be complete misses coming out of the barrel of your gun. You can't control the recoil for anything, and you kind of look like them.
Yeah, the problem is
Bales,
just does so little body shot damage. Like, it
yeah,
really
it
has to be the
does.
heads. It's got a great fire rate to work with, though, so, like, that's not bad.
I think the good thing about that I was gonna mention is that Bales had active. Bales has teammates that can bail them out of
Oh.
these situations. That yeah, wow, I really worked hard for that pun. You could really tell that get them out of that
I rose
situation. And I
fresh out
think
of the pun mines.
yeah, crazy. That really helps UCF in these engagements, just like Louisville Red, who had Synthetic and J Razor played around each other. UCF, somebody's in a sticky situation, Bales and active. They help each other out, and all of a sudden, UCF, they end up on top.
Yeah, I love the way that they play off each other. It makes it so that you can take a round that was looking a little bit rough to start with the opening kill and turn it around pretty heavily. Interestingly, Synthetic again taking one of our fun operators. We saw Glaz do some crazy things. I think it was Gangsta, though, who opened up with like a 3-kill last time. So Louisville, they are no strangers to the Glaz. Activewear playing with fire peeking this angle right now. That's his murder hole, but I think has been kind of turned around on him. Activewear has shown us some phenomenal gun skill, though, so it's not undoable. Scarily even of a fight. Bales gets away with a shred of life still in him. Heartless just had to take a moment too long to set down the shield, locked into the animation for too long.
Oh no, yeah,
Hey,
you weren't
gets
gonna
it
win
in the
that
end.
one. Yeah, you weren't gonna win that one, Bales. But I mean, under average is gone. So even though Bales didn't really do much in that engagement, they did get bailed out, meaning that their death didn't mean too much in the grand scheme of things because it was just immediately traded out. Jahemus is on a tear on this map, 11-4. They are looking to not stop anytime soon. As Activewear in a little bit of a fight with Synthetic. I don't know if you really want to peek that, my friend. Glaz is built for these engagements, and if you keep trying it, it is not going to end the way you like. But both, they go their separate ways, and in the end, it's another engagement that may tip the scales. Nuclear takes out J Razor, meaning that there's no clutch drones, there's no smokes to help out Synthetic.
Activewear is plenty fresh on these peaks. He's been doing it all round long, just staring down the barrel, playing dice with death, and he's willing to push up, go for this one. That shield kind of takes him a little bit by surprise, doesn't quite find the shoulder of the player running away, but there's another shield coming its way, giving him another opportunity. He doesn't have explosives to work with, but Jahemus does. Takes out Gangster with that one, but it leaves them explosiveless except for that one C4 left to deal with Heartless, our last player. It's okay, Activewear is just gonna pop off. He's finally got that opportunity to shoot someone who's within actual range. So here he goes using that shield to his own advantage.
All right, we are in for a treat, I would hope. If Louisville could maybe start to mount a comeback. I believe in Louisville Red. I saw what they were able to do in Clubhouse, seen what they were able to do on Villa, but I also don't want to be wrong. I think that's the bigger part of this one, Treasure, is that I might be seen as wrong. And I most definitely am not wrong. As UCF, they pick up their second defensive round in a row, get to go back to Kitchen, and this was where we saw the attack start to really mount a comeback. When UCF was on the attack, Kitchen was where they got their first round. They won 3 in a row. And now we've already are faced with the same puzzle piece. They have to find a way out of the conundrum that they're kind of in. Down 2 rounds. You're on match. Excuse me. You're on the final match. You're not on match. We're still a little bit far away from that, but so far, if you don't win this round, is there any way out of the 3 to 6 hole you'll be in?
Yeah, that looks pretty darn scary at that point. Like, Louisville really needs to turn this one around sooner rather than later. So far, we have made a perfect mirror image of the last half. Louisville gives away 2 rounds here, but they took the first 2 rounds on the other half. They really need to make sure that UCF falters on Kitchen as they did to keep this thing going and really keep those hopes in line. Otherwise, it's got to be clutch or kick every single round. Coming up on a north side push, Astro window already opened up, drones going in through Master to pick up as much intel, that way they can work from the top down. They want to open up the floor just as we saw their opponents do previously. This time they brought a Fuse as well. He's going to cause mayhem if he gets the opportunity to. First pick goes to the defense.
And it drops Nuclear, who is going to be able to get revived, you would think. Even though Under Average, I believe, has that information. Activewear is right there for the drone. Oh, it's a race. It's a race. I don't think Activewear is going to be able to get up there because they see the heartbeats. And unfortunately, Nuclear, I think your time is up, my friend. Oh
my God!
My goodness, what a play from Activewear. Take it out, Jay Razor. The pause from throwing the frag grenade was enough to find the kill. That was completely out of the box.
Amazing.
Using the fact that players will stand still when they have the frag grenades, it allows UCF to keep the lead.
Yeah, beautiful play from Activewear. Unfortunately, he barely misses the feet of Heartless as the fuse canisters start going live, and we can hear them ringing out across the map. Heartless making sure that he's safe still here in Statuary. Doing his due diligence. He knows that there's plenty of flank capacity, especially now that Activewear has dropped that C4. He's free to start moving about the map, especially now that he's got plenty of pings for his teammates. A couple of yellows going out, but downstairs is pretty scary. Ahead is seen, but under average is the one to act on it sooner. Activewear, a huge fragger for UCF, down and off the board. Is going to be up to his teammates from here on in a 3v3. Plenty of the site has been opened up, though, so Kitchen is a war zone.
Yeah, you lose a fragger, but you lose active information. You lose the ability to see players' heartbeat, see where they will come from, and be communicated with throughout the entire team. Jaheemis takes a couple of bullets, and I believe that was from getting something under average, just holding that tiny little hole upstairs. But so far, the top floor is still being broken into. UCF, they just kind of have to scatter. As Louisville, they're looking for some entry to give them a round, keep them in this map. And as long as UCF doesn't peek those vertical holes, keeps Heartless from putting this diffuser down in any way possible, and they should be looking good going forward. Heartless does peek, tries to go for that diffuse, but is anybody going to be there for that counter? One is down, but Bales goes for a flank, and under average is there to shut that down good and proper. Taco in the 1v3 is going to fire some bullets, does down one, cannot get the confirm, but now there's no information. Treasure Taco takes even more damage as the player goes for the raise.
Oh, no.
He's able to get that Nomad up, and that could have changed things for the worse for Louisville Red, as in a 1v2. Taco has to reload, knowing that the round could have been changed forever. With 15 seconds left on the clock, under average spots the feet of the last desperate player on UCF, who peeks towards Laundry, gets taken out, and the res in the open from the players on Louisville Red. How did they get away with it?
Heartless? Made of steel. He should have been punished for it. The opportunity was there, and unfortunately, we know Nuclear's just got to be kicking himself there. All three players were in his sight lines, but he just peeked in between the three of them. It's that option paralysis. You just can't avoid. You go, one down, one rezzing, one staring at me with a gun. Who's the most important? How do I get them all?
I'm gonna be honest. He seemed like a little bewildered. I was
so
bewildered. It's a decision that you would almost never make. Is to, in this engagement, you know exactly where the defender is. They're on the other side of a very small piece of debris. You have a player down, and you decide to go for the res in the open, knowing that you could very easily be shot. It's the easiest position to die in, and you still go for it. You would never think that would happen as a defender. And part of me is thinking that is kind of what happened, that it's so crazy that Louisville Red would try to go for that res, that it's just like, oh, you're doing that. Oh, okay.
Attackers are moving out to locate a bomb.
Yeah, that's the thing that Louisville just keeps bringing to the table, is they're just a little bit crazy over there, and it is giving me life. This has been so much fun. Like, they're always just keeping me on my toes, and UCF on their toes as well. And like we said, this is exactly what they need to make sure this thing keeps going. They have broken that defender streak. Neither team can defend Kitchen against the other, and that's perfect. That means we get to keep going. We get to see where this one plays out.
Oh, who's going to make the first move? Active or Jay Razor, who has so much more bullets. But Jay Razor actually prefers to back off. I feel like Jay Razor would have won that every single day of the week, having more bullets, having a better rate of fire. Activewear dodged probably the biggest bullet he could have in that engagement.
You had to get scanned too, but the scan now gone by the wayside. He can sneak in up the stairs. Checking in, yeah, on the basement staircase to just take a look. Synthetic goes down, should be good to res himself, if nothing else. And here comes the flank from Activewear. He sees 2 targets. There's 1 down, there's 2 down. Is he gonna do it? Are we gonna get a second in Taro? There's no one to punish, but he doesn't know that, so he has to finish this one up, get the execution. There's 2 kills as Bales gets another one. Activewear on the 3K. This is looking amazing for UCF. This is exactly what they need to bring this one into that match point. But he's not done yet. Activewear keeps pushing up, pre-firing with a pistol. He doesn't find exactly what he's looking for. Gangsta in the showers now sees the opportunity. He's probably going to pre-fire around the other way. Does so, but he just loses a quad kill. Can he get it? Can he get the 5th? He sees it, but Gangsta is better, finds the head. He has plenty of information to work with after all of his teammates went down, but he's just all alone. Nothing you can really do in this position.
How do you let Activewear get away with that type of buffoonery? 4K with the Louison. It's a pistol. It's a suppressed pistol. You have assault rifles.
He was pre-firing.
Yeah, like, I don't know if he's the Spas 12 or Caveira's SMG, which I'm forgetting the name of. But I would have loved to see just the Spas go buck wild. But the fact that it was the Louison that got all those kills, that just, like, buries the knife in Louisville Red. And that knife is so hot, it automatically cauterizes the wound. That will put UCF on map and match point. Because there is no way Gangsta wins a 1v4 with 20 seconds left in this type of site we are in, with 2 C4s on the board. So now UCF, they get to go to Trophy. I will not go to Kitchen. I will guarantee you that. With a couple rounds at their back, getting that momentum, getting that confidence that Activewear has given them, being 14-6, and it's really up to them how this entire series is gonna end.
Operators, you are out of time.
Yeah, this is looking phenomenal for UCF. They finally bucked that trend. This is not going to be a repeat of the first half, they say, and they have proved it with Activewear just egoing Synthetic. That's what that was. He's seen this Cav almost every single round of the Louisville defense and goes, you know, I've been playing pretty hot today. I think I could put Synthetic's Cav to shame. Looks for the ace. That's, I think, really why he was willing to push up on some crazy angles by the end of that, is because the ace was on the table, and that is just worth so much cred on its own. Doesn't quite get it, but I think he really showed us what he's about with that round.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
All right, I honestly, I respect Activewear so much for sticking with the Cav, giving it the synthetic treatment at this point, saying, you know what?
With such high
overall,
stakes.
Cav may not be the best roamer, but at this point, you guys let me get a 4K as Caveira with the pistol. I'm gonna keep playing Caveira because clearly now Louisville Red just kind of forgot about the Caveira. Jay Razor had an engagement, didn't set up any claymores, didn't set up any flank drones, and we all saw what happened after that.
Yeah, there's a couple mistakes there, but that's what Kev is all about, punishing mistakes and punishing them hard. So, match point, all the chips are on the table. Louisville's looking for their first match win against an actual team. UCF looking for their second one. Both these teams have a lot to prove in their division right now, so either way it's going to be a very celebrated victory for either of these teams. Synthetic coming back at us with another glass round, a repeat of the last time that we were on this objective. Just makes a lot of sense. He was pinging against Activewear for most of the last time, so we'll see if that has a repeat. I think pretty unlikely if that Activewear is going to keep that up, being like equipped with a pistol and a shotgun this time.
Oh my goodness, Bales with the 2K! Bales cemented that round, maybe. With Activewear going down, that could mean that a change happens, but Under Average now gets their kneecaps blown up by a frost trap, which Nuclear definitely hears throughout the entire building. The res will happen, but Louisville Red at this point, they are living. That is honestly what you can say of them at this point. 3v4. A lot of Louisville members have taken some damage. And Johevis gets the kill through Underage through the wall. The refrag is there. But UCF, they have the man advantage. They have map control. They have a C4. It's going to be up to
Yeah.
Heartless and J-Razor if they can change the time.
I think that's the real thing, is the map control at this point. 3v2, nothing crazy, but Louisville has barely gotten to get into the map, let alone get to objective. Whoa! Nuclear making a great long sight lane. I love that top-down view that we got to see just how far that was. He was just holding the angle close as soon as J-Razor poked around. It's just Heartless alone against 3. Just about nothing he can do. He's going to give away his location by pinging out that ADS. There's no more ADSs. Oh, one ADS through here, but he has burnt this one out. Now he's got a flash to work with. Or no more flashes to work with, yeah. And Nuclear is going to keep this one going, looking great across this round and a half. UCF put this one to bed.
We gassed up the attack of Louisville. And guess who ends up looking like the idiots?
No.
Louisville got one round on their attack, and UCF clean sweep, got 4, ended us in regulation. And oh boy, that was a very good match between these two teams. Map 2, really strong for Louisville. I think they definitely needed it, considering that was their first map win. And then map 3, a little bit back and forth, but then once we hit that second half, it was UCF. Got their stride, got the Caveira, which kind of put Synthetics to shame a little bit.
Yeah, that was a big play. But in the end, we get 2 7-4 victories from UCF. Quite respectable. A really nice one, the 7-2. That was so dominant, especially on UCF's own map choice. So Louisville can show us that despite having this record going this way, they really are contenders and someone that should have some respect on their name, especially going forward in this season. They'll have a few more rounds of the bracket to go before playoffs as well, so no one is down and out yet. Everyone still has plenty of time to make it back in. We got a few impactful rounds to be coming in the next few weeks, but that brings us to our conclusion. This is week 5, I think, wrapping up. This should be the latest match that we have going for this week's NECC.
One more match. It is the B stream. It's live right now. I think it might be map 2, I believe. So if you're itching for more CZ action, head over to that B stream. You know that they are in the middle of that. You're definitely not going to want to miss it. And you're definitely not going to want to miss the rest of the Siege season coming at you next Tuesday on NECC. We will see you then. It's been a wonderful night, and you have a wonderful night as well.